around 11:35, Jesus wept. Yes, so I wept the day I used to pay 830 cedis per session. So in all, I was spending about 10,600. The hospital didn't tell us that when we come to India, there's something called legal committee that we are going to meet. We should have done this in 3 months. But when we got there, we realized we needed to come along with more people to confirm the relationship between the donor and myself. It was really difficult because most of the money went into accommodation. That was about $1,600 every month. The first shock of my life or as a patient in India was when I was offered food during my dialysis session. In India, they value lives in the sense that if by mistake or anything, a patient dies in your hands, you are in big trouble. So, for example, the surgeon that did my surgery has done over 20,000 surgeries. If you are not careful and you enter an Indian shop, you walk back home, you may end up spending everything over there because there are people that know how to take money. Yes, they know how to take money. That's because their customer service is top notch.
Introducing Mr. Philip Atawura, an academic and development advocate with advanced degrees in journalism, development, and business communication, a DW-trained expert in photography and mobile journalism. With over 10 years of lecturing experience, he's also served as a media analyst for the EU Election Observer Mission in Ghana and as a Commonwealth Foundation trainer for Interfaith Ghana. Beyond academia, he's a driving force as a youth trainer, media commentator, and event organizer, known for his meticulous approach, hard-working spirit, and love of nature. This is Mr. Philip Atawura.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the EYV podcast with me, Brad Opokuba Mashandov. That's Bob Shandy. It's been a little over a month now since the launch of this podcast, and trust me, the support we've seen, it's immense, and we want to say that we are very grateful. Continue to subscribe to the podcast, like, share, and also tell others about the EYV podcast. One of the reasons why this podcast was launched was that we want to bring to us not the famous people that we already know, but the ordinary people that we might not even want to take a selfie with when we meet them at the mall, or we might just pass by without even saying a hi, but then whose ideals and ideas and experiences shapes or can shape our life as they empower their voice on this podcast. And today I've got with me someone whose experience at the end of this podcast I know would shape our minds and give us a different perspective of life. Hello, sir.
Hi, Shandov.
Welcome to the EYV podcast.
Thank you.
In the Ghanaian parlance, I say Accra ehun is alright. Viewers, I'm here with my lecturer, so yes, I've reached, like they always say. Yes. So tell us, have you always wanted to be a lecturer? I mean, Ejima Bibli Ghana, have you always wanted to to do lecturing? Or it was one of the second something? Yeah.
Well, I won't say second, but the fact also is that I never thought I would end up in the industry. Yes. For one reason, I think one of my teachers growing up when I was in class 5 told me never to become a teacher because of salary issues, and then they are not motivated to teach. So teaching has never been my thing to think of it. But then, in as much as it wasn't, I always also found myself doing it. For example, gathering my mates and then teaching them, or my juniors and teaching them some concepts here and there from childhood. And then it intensified in senior high school where those of us who attended grade B schools, you have to put in a lot of efforts. So I remember those days when I come back for the long vacation. I attend classes at Accra Academy. So once we reopen, I teach my friends some of the new stuff that I was taught at Accra Academy. So that is how the whole thing started. And when I got to GIJ, due to some financial difficulties, I had to be teaching so that I could make money to support myself, either fees or feeding. So it started with the weekend students who were mostly adults, working students who were just coming to do top-up. So that's where the whole thing started from. And before I was done with school, the vice rector at the time approached me and told me he wanted me to be his assistant as my national service. So I accepted it because for national services, it's also a matter of chance when you don't have an organization that already needs you. So it's better to take this, still being in the same environment, than to be thrown somewhere that, in a village somewhere that you cannot, function. So right from the classroom, I took up the NSS, job as a teaching assistant. So I was doing a bit of official or administrative work since is the vice rector, and I was also doing the academic stuff because at the time he was also lecturing. Then what also happened was that before we will complete the national service, the school had also started the master's program, and I was encouraged to, pick a form and then start with the master's. So right after the national service, I was doing my master's, and at the same time assisting the vice rector. So actually I would say I did national service for 2 years. One was formal, one wasn't. And then while doing my master's. In the middle of the second semester to the end of the master's program, 3 of us were selected. Of course, our opinions were sorted whether we would want to be part of faculty. And we agreed to it. So I think we had our contracts, and we had to start work on the 1st of October. That was in 2005. Sorry, 2015.
2015,
Yes, 2015. So that is how I ended up being in the classroom. Whether it's by coincidence or it is by fate, once I entered university, it's been from one class to the other. So that's how
started.
Yes. Ideally, I wanted to be a medical doctor.
Oh.
Yes. That had been my dream growing up. Yes. But of course, then again, there were financial challenges. So I couldn't continue because I didn't have the means. So I ended up at GIJ, which was not charging as much as medical school. And then at GIJ, I think another dream was to join the army.
Wow.
Yes. So that was my dream, that after my degree, I'll be joining the army. And then this issue of being my TA came in. And I was like, well, let me just continue in this field. Yeah, so that's how come I'm here now. So it wasn't something I ever dreamt of, but one thing led to the other, and I'm here.
But so just before we really kickstart the conversation, so would you right now with the kind of impact that you've made,
Yes.
every year there are thousands of students that you lecture. Do you think it's a blessing in disguise having, forsaking your earlier dreams like of becoming a military man or entering into
The medical
yes,
school.
the medical school? Do you think now, with what you've done and you are still doing, you think it's something that maybe was divinely orchestrated or something?
Yes, I believe that wherever I would have ended, I would have still ended up in the classroom. If I'd gone to the medical school completed, I believe I would have still been a lecturer
Yeah.
at maybe the medical school. If I'd gone to the military, I'm sure I'll still be training other, aspirants. Okay, because I realized that teaching comes to me naturally. Because anytime I sit and reflect how in class 3 I'll be teaching other people, I was like, well, maybe this has been it all along.
Yeah.
Yes. So now I have accepted that this is the best place for me, and this is where I function to my optimal level. Yes. So whatever be the case, I strongly believe that I would have still ended up either in the classroom or as a trainer for other stuff.
I want us to go back a bit. So tell us how was your upbringing like? Were you the DB type? Were you the one who, mama had got everything covered? Or tell us about your upbringing. Like, how was it like?
Yes. Earlier on I told you I couldn't go to medical school because of financial challenges. Yes. At the time, I think UCC, the fees, if I'm right, I think should be 3,000 cedis. Yes. And then coupled with getting a wholesale, moving from Accra to Cape Coast, was a challenge. Also, UDS, I also picked forms for UDS. I was given biochemistry, yes, but that to distance, accommodation, and other stuff would have compounded my situation. So, for whatever reason, I picked GIG form as well.
Okay.
So when that came, I hopped onto it. Even with that, there were challenges. So obviously, I never came from a DB background. No. I come from a very humble background. Single child, raised by a single mother. Single parent, and it's been challenging. We've sold on the streets before.
Oh.
Yes, to support ourselves. So it's not as rosy. The fortunate thing is that in senior high school, I got a government scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this order of merit thing. Yeah, so I got government scholarship. So that lessened
The burden. Okay.
That lessened the burden. So my days in senior high school was actually sponsored by the government.
Wow, that's a very inspiring one. So somewhere last month, I was on the net like as usual and on YouTube. Then I saw a YouTube channel, the Atawura, and I clicked on it and I was like, hey, that was my lecturer there giving us a series of information concerning your trip to India. So we want to understand what necessitated this travel. Why did you go to India?
Okay, because I was faced with a health issue. called polycystic kidney disease, and it was at the end stage. There are 5 stages to the kidney's function.
Okay.
So it begins from first and then ends at 5th, or the end stage. So when you get to the 5th or the end stage, it means that your kidney is functioning below 15%. Yeah. So from 20 downwards is end stage. So at the time when I was diagnosed, I was around 3%. Yes. So I needed to, the options were to either I do dialysis for the rest of my life,
Okay.
or I get a transplant done. Yes. So after 2 years of doing dialysis,
Yeah.
I got a donor. So we had to go and have the transplant done, which will give me more time to go about my daily activities without having to take breaks every 3 days in a week to go and do dialysis. Yeah.
But I want to understand, and I'm sure my viewers too want to understand. On that very day that the news broke, like, how was it? Were you going there knowing that this was the condition? What were you going to do there? Was it a coincidence, you being at the hospital, and were you expecting such news? How was the whole thing like? Your being there and the news?
Okay, the condition was diagnosed in Ghana at Kolebu.
Okay.
And then what happened was somewhere in June 4th,
Okay.
yes, I had a swollen leg in the foot, actually. The right foot
Okay.
was swollen, and it was after work. In fact, that day I did a lot. It was getting closer for students to submit their project works or thesis, like for those who may not know the project work. So for their thesis, so I decided to spend more time behind the desk and work. So when I got home, I thought this was as a result of the long hours of sitting down. And I believe that the next day, the swelling should have gone. But the next day, it was still there. And then I applied some pressure here and there, but still. So after 3 or 4 days, I went to see a friend who is a pharmacist. And he actually thought it may be a heart issue.
Okay.
Yeah. So he requested I go and run an ECG. I went to do the ECG and showed it to him, and he said, no, the readings are bad, so I should see a medical officer instead.
Yeah.
So I went to the Akaway Hospital, and then they also did their diagnosis,
Okay.
but didn't give me a response that it is my kidney.
Okay.
Because we did a lot of tests around the heart,
Yeah.
because that was the complaint
At the
I
time.
took to. And also because I was getting tired most of the time. So after 2 months of going and coming, the medical officer wrote a referral for me to go to Kolebu and see a consultant. So I went to Kolebu and booked to meet the consultant. And then after that, the cardiologist said I should see the nephrologist from the test that she made me run. So when I saw the nephrologist, he also made me go and run some other tests. So it was from there that I realized that it was a kidney challenge. But the very time I realized, or the doctor told me this is the case, he also didn't allow me to go home, because, as I said, my kidney function, what we call the EGRF, was 3%. And I was to the doctor. I was lucky to still be walking up and down. So he actually advised that I should be on admission for about 2 weeks before he would tell me what to do next.
But for our viewers' sake and educational purposes, what does it mean to be told that you are functioning at 3%, your EGRF is at 3%? What does it really mean?
What it means is that I think per every 100 mil, the rate at which your kidney filters the water, the water, let me say, from the blood, and the rate at which it takes out unwanted materials like the excess phosphorus, phosphates, potassium, like all the unwanted stuff that the body doesn't need, the impurities. The rate at which it takes it from your body, together with the excess water that your body doesn't need, is 3%. So that is what it means. So what it means is that under normal circumstances, if it is functioning at 100%, then I should drink like how do you call it? A sachet of water. Yes. Maybe if it's going to take just about 5 minutes to filter that water, now it's going to take far less than that. It's going to take 3% of that 5 minutes. So that's about 0.15. Yes, minute to do that.
So let's understand. So at this point we're in Ghana. When the news was in Ghana and at Kolebu.
Yes.
So on that fateful day when the doctor told you he was not going to allow you come home, did you psychologically, emotionally, how did you hold it when you were told? Because from the narrative you weren't expecting this, or you're not ready to hear this. It was not as if you knew what was happening, but when you were told finally, what was the reaction emotionally, psychologically? How ready were you, or how down were you?
As a John 11:35, Jesus wept. Yes, so I wept. I wept. Yes, because I walked to the doctor or the consultant. And from Kolebu's main gate to the medical block, it's quite a distance. It could take about 10-15 minutes walk. So, and all the while, I wasn't assisted by anyone. So for the doctor to tell me that your condition is serious, initially I was still
doubted.
Yes, I didn't really believe it. But he asked me to wait for the nurse to come for me to the ward. But when the nurse came, she came with a wheelchair. And I was like, no, I can't walk. She was like, no, I have to get you on the wheelchair. First of all, it's part of protocol. Secondly, if we are walking and something happens to me, she will be in trouble. So, it has never occurred to me before that I'll be in a wheelchair. So while on that chair, that was when I started processing the whole thing. And it wasn't a good news at all. It broke my heart. I couldn't talk to people because as I tried to do that, tears kept flowing. So it wasn't a good thing at all. I felt everything has come to an end for me.
So this was This
was in 2021.
2021?
Yes, August 23, 2021. That was when I was first admitted.
Wow. And So whilst at Kolebu, like when you were told that yes, this was the condition, the doctors there, you started the dialysis treatment there.
Yes.
That very day.
Not that very day. I took about a week to
Prepare.
to start the dialysis. Yeah. The reason, I don't know the reason, but they placed me on a lot of antibiotics.
Okay.
Yes, and then at the time I used to salivate. I was vomiting once I eat anything. So they manage all of those things first before I got appointments to fix the catheter, which is the line for the dialysis.
Yeah.
So it was after I fixed it before I had my first dialysis.
So take us through like the process. On the first day, what are you told? What are you expected to do? Or like the doctors from the doctors, how did they prep you to begin the dialysis treatment?
Oh, well, unfortunately, I didn't have anybody to, prep me on what I is expected or what I'm going to face. So after the insertion of the tube on my groin, I think later on in the evening they came for me. It was like, it's time for you to have your dialysis. So they took me to the dialysis section. Then the nurse prepared me and then placed me on the machine. So I only got experience after I was placed on it. Yeah.
Wow. I think somewhere last month, I think a month or two, there was this news that the renal unit there at Kolebu had been shut down, and it was due to the fact that government was owing about 4 million cedis, Ghana cedis, and as a result of the shutdown, about 15 to 17 people had died.
Yeah.
How fortunate were you at the time that you were having this whole treatment, or you started this dialysis treatment in Ghana? How fortunate were you? How was the treatment? Was everything on point? And for somebody who had that was your first time experiencing that, did you think that you had a good medical care? How was the whole process thing? Can you take us through?
Well, you being your first time, you can't really measure whether the care given you was good or bad, and also because you haven't had a different experience from elsewhere.
Yeah.
So whatever they were doing, I felt that was the protocol. So I really didn't assess them based on the services they rendered.
Okay.
Because myself, I've never been there before. It's my first time. So whatever they did, I assume this is what they are supposed to do to help me. Yeah. But when I was about to be discharged, the Kolebu renal cannot take every patient.
Yeah.
So I think at the time I was being discharged, it was full. Usually when somebody stops using the facility and then there's a space, then they put you on it. But if it's full, it's full. I mean, they can't work beyond what the machines are supposed to.
So how many machines are current, at the time that you were there, how many machines were actively working?
I was having my dialysis session in the ward.
Okay.
Yes, not at the dialysis center.
Center itself, yeah.
So the ward was 7 those of us there and some other people from outside. Yes, but the what they call the dialysis center is, I haven't been there.
Oh.
Yes, but at the ward, if my memory serves me right, we had about 2. There were 3 machines for HB patients, and then there were about 7 machines for everyone else. In
fact, we've heard news or we've heard stories about how expensive. People who go for these dialysis treatments is some people are unable to bear the cost, so they sometimes, I think, along the line defaults and they die. How was funding for you? Because this was an unexpected news.
Yes.
Were you doing all by yourself? How was it? How easy or difficult was it for you?
Yes. It was really difficult because my story is that I'm a single child.
Okay.
I didn't have brothers or sisters or people in places that could, help me with finances. When I say people in places, I mean family, because it all begins from the home first before you go outside. So I didn't have anyone to assist. Moreover, after I was discharged,
Okay.
I think 2 weeks and 4 days, I lost my mom. So the burden was there, because if there was anyone who would support, it would have been her.
Both financially and
Yes,
psychologically.
yes.
Okay.
But I lost her just about 17 days after I was discharged. So finances became a very difficult thing. But you see, for one thing that I have seen is that God brings help from unexpected places. Usually where you anticipate that the help should come from, it often doesn't. It often comes from places that you never imagined. So from the beginning, when the whole thing started and I was admitted, I got funds from my society at church,
Okay.
which is Knights and Ladies of Marshall. So they were pushing for me. And then some support also came from my master's year group. And then after the admission, I think I had the cost covered, like reimbursed, let me put it that way, by GIJ.
Oh.
Yes. So this was how the whole thing, the support was coming in. But I always mention one couple name when I'm doing this, because they actually, they've related to me like a mother and a father. So anytime I get opportunity, I mention them, Mr. and Mrs. Berima. Yes. So they would give without you asking. Yes. So every month they sent money. At a time, every month, at least 1,000 or more will come to your account for support. So I was using that basically to also buy the medications that I was on. Yes. So that's how the whole thing was. So school was also coming in, and then this couple was also supporting. And when I have emergency, the Knights of Marshall comes in. Yes, so that's how I was moving, because my expenses were higher.
Yeah.
Because after admission, the centers that were closer to me was Achimota.
Okay.
Yes, so Providence Hospital. So at the time, I think it was 650 per session. Yes, but then Providence had a challenge, so I moved from there to Sage Hospital at East Lake on Boundary Road.
Okay.
Yeah, so over there, when I buy, I go for dialysis, and then I also buy there are two medications very often: iron injection and then EPO. EPO and iron is needed because you are always losing blood as a dialysis patient. So that helps to keep the blood at a level that is considered okay for your survival. So at the end of the day, I used to pay 830 cedis per session.
830 cedis per session.
Yes.
Excluding drugs.
Excluding excluding the drugs that I'll take through my mouth. Yes. But for the EPO and then the iron and then the dialysis, it was 830
cedis.
Yes.
And how many times were you doing this per week?
3.
3 times.
Yes. So in a week you need about in a week you need about 2,600 Ghana cedis if you have to factor in your transportation.
That would be a little over 3,000 cedis.
When you factor
the transport.
Yes, it's about 2,600.
Okay.
My medications at the time per month was I think almost 1,000. It was 960 something. Yes. So in all, I was spending about 10,600 every month.
And you were still in school, so how were you managing lecturing and you taking care of yourself like in this regard?
Yes. I always thank the management of JIJ. They've been magnanimous in that regard. They reduced my work schedule.
Okay.
I'm supposed to do 14 hours a week.
Yeah.
But then they reduced it to 6.
Okay.
Yes. So that gave me the opportunity to have access to the dialysis and then just come to school twice in a week and then do my lecturing.
So fast forward, I think months down the line, it was all over social media and also the traditional media. Mr. Philip Atawura needs funds to go continue the treatment in India or go for, I think, a transplant.
Yes.
At what point did that become necessary, the transplant? Because you were still on the dialysis thing, so with the hopes of it getting better or the treatment going well. So what really necessitated your going outside and the whole journey? Because funding and the amounts that was being mentioned at the time, I mean,
yes,
you could help me with the figures. Cause
yes, you see the funding itself was a leaked document.
Okay.
Let me say it. Because the arrangement we were having was to go to Corporate Ghana through JIJ.
All right.
But then I think the document entered into the staff email.
Oh, all right.
Informing staff about me going for some sponsorship here and there. And I think it came through that. And once it got into the public domain, the journalists are my students. So, it's caught fire. So right from there, I couldn't control it. So you realize that with what came out, there was nothing like send money to this number or this account. There was nothing like that. So all of that became an afterthought. They're like, okay, people are willing to support. You can't say no. At the end of the day, you needed the funds. However you're going to get the funds, you have to. So you can still go ahead and approach Corporate Ghana through the letters from GIJ. And once these students of yours have also shown interest in sharing your story and then raising funds for you, go for it. So that's where we had to go for a number for donations. And then somebody also created the GoFundMe.
Okay.
Yes, and then we attached the bank account. So we're using 2 contacts. We bought a number from Vodafone for that, and then Mr. Erika Jacob's contact. Yes. So that was for it. But at the end of the day, monies didn't really come through the numbers because most people brought in the cash.
Okay.
So most people brought cash, simply because they are also students or past students.
Yeah.
So most of those who are on campus will just come to the office and do the donation. Then others also did it through Mr. Ejekum.
Yeah.
And Mr. Nuchuka. Yes. And then Azuri Manasseh played a very important role.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Through Azuri, we were able to raise more than 50% of
The needed
funds.
funds.
Yes.
Wow.
So wherever he is, my greetings to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after going through, you getting the sponsorship and all of that,
Yes.
now you prepared to leave for India. How easy was it? Or let's say even so, you preparing and also getting there,
The donor.
because as far as I am concerned, there was a stipulated time for the whole thing to last.
Yes.
But it appears you overstayed.
Yes.
Take us to the journey, your preparation, and when you got there, what happened?
Okay. We were working with agents of the hospital
Okay.
in India. But the hospital didn't tell us that when we come to India, there's something called legal committee that we are going to meet.
Legal committee.
Yes, which is set up by the state to ensure that the donor and the recipient are doing this in a legal manner. And there are tenets to that, legalities. We didn't know about that. And the second issue was that the doctors or the facilitators in Ghana also didn't know about this whole thing.
Okay.
We thought it was as simple as the hospital saying, oh, yeah, donor is okay to donate, so just let's have it done. No, even when the donor is okay and the legal committee says no, there's no way the hospital is going to do it. But of course, the hospital is also quiet on it. They expect that you should know, in quote.
Okay.
And also because they want to make their money.
All right.
And they know that once you are there, they will make some money. Whether you leave without doing it or you do it before,
Yeah.
they will still make some money. So they are mostly silent on it. So these are some of the things that if you don't get a good agent or a trustworthy group of people to work with, it will delay you. And I wasn't the only victim. There were others. This immigration lady who also faced those challenges. Yeah. So we should have done this in 3 months. But when we got there, we realized we needed to come along with more people to confirm the relationship between the donor and myself. And we didn't do that. So what that meant was that we needed to make documents to show that the people that they needed to be present actually agree to whatever we are going to do. And the documentation, of course, in Ghana, we don't have documents already available.
Yeah.
For example, birth certificates, a lot of people.
Yeah.
You only do it when you need it.
Need them, yeah.
Like marriage certificates, a whole lot of certificates.
Yeah.
And, the environment also, the cultural differences also came in. In India, they have what they call the family card, where, for example, it's more like the family tree.
Okay.
So any new member that joins as a result of birth, they just add it to the card.
Oh.
So they asked for a family card, and I was like, what is that? So actually it was a family tree. So we now had to create a family tree from grandparents to us or to our children if we had. So, and that meant that whoever is on that family tree, if they are alive, you will need their affidavit. If they are dead, you need their death certificate. So, I mean, my grandmother died. There was not like a birth certificate. My grandfather even died before my mother was in class 4, So where are we going to get these things? People give birth in villages. We don't do birth certificates, death certificates. So we now had to do all of this.
Yeah.
Those we claim were married, we need to produce marriage certificates.
Yeah, to support that.
And of course, you know how bureaucratic the system
Yeah.
is. Besides the bureaucracy, these are things that we are not used to. We see it to be normal in Ghana for you not to have a birth certificate or to create a death certificate for, a late relative. So we needed to do these things, and it took some time.
So I want to understand this. Before you went there was a particular scheduled time for you to get the whole transplant done.
Yes.
You get there, and this whole documentation also prolongs your stay.
Yes.
How did you have you already factored in extra cost? Because yes, there was an amount of money that you needed for the whole trip. This time around, you had not planned for the stay. So how did you do this whole funding thing? Did you have to call again for people to resend money? How did you manage the whole process there?
Okay. I think our budget at the time was 700,000 cedis.
Okay.
That amounted to about $62,000.
All right.
We raised, I think, just about. I think we're short of just about $4,000.
Okay. Before the travel.
Yes.
All right.
So before that already, we didn't get our target, but we believe that whilst there, we could raise extra funds. So we didn't want to wait. We had to go.
Okay.
So when we went there, and then this challenge also came in, we had to call back to let them know. But, it was difficult the second time. Yes. But what we got, I think, $8,000 from GIJ.
All right.
Yes, I think $8,300 from GIJ. And then I also I relied on, of course, my 9-10 ladies.
Yeah.
They also brought in some support.
All right.
And then, as I said, Mr. and Mrs. Berman also brought in some support. So it was now more of calling on those that because you are there, you are not in Ghana. You if there's something you can do personally, you can't do until you come back to, Ghana. So it was really difficult because most of the money went into accommodation. That was about $1,600 every month. Yes. So we spent 8 months, and that's almost $10,000 into accommodation. But initially, accommodation was not supposed to go beyond $3,500.
Okay.
Yes, that was the budget for accommodation. So we did a lot, and then also some the funds also went into the dialysis because of the prolonged, stay. And dialysis at the time was 100 and I think 9,200 rupees.
Okay.
And that was about $100, and then we buy the EPO and the other stuff. So everything was almost about $170 per session. Yes, but then that was for the first hospital, which more or less is the most expensive, but in quote the best hospital too.
Yeah.
But when we went to the other hospital, the price was okay. I think it was about 6,500 rupees. Yes. So we saved some money over there. But of course, I don't know what the conversion is now.
Yeah.
But I think 10,000 rupees is now about 1,800 cedis.
Sure.
So when you look at it, we were doing about 1,200. There are about 1,200 cedis per dialysis session. So you do this 3 times in a week, and we did this for 7 months. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's where majority of the money went: the dialysis, the accommodation, and then we also spent $4,000 on emergency admission. Yes, I was admitted twice, and each session costed about $2,000. Yeah, so we spent $4,000 over there too. So at the end of the day, we spent more than $25,000 on just accommodation and dialysis and those stuff.
So whilst there, like with your documentation, a bit back with the documentation and other relevant information that was needed, was there any help that you got from maybe the Ghana embassy, like to help you, fast track some of these things? Was there any help there?
Yes. Actually, you can't even do a transplant without your High Commission's consent.
All right.
Yes, because they need to authenticate the documents. So the marriage certificates, the birth certificates, the death certificates, the affidavits, they have to, stamp on them and confirm that they are genuine.
Okay.
So yes, the embassy played
a role.
Not just a role, a good one.
A good one.
Yes. I think Atawura was very good.
Okay.
Because we it's supposed to take 3 months.
Yeah.
If we had done the right thing, if we had come in with
the right
people,
documentation.
Yes, I mean, if the people that are supposed to follow us had joined us. But when we went there, and they also told us, we were like, no, we are working with a budget. And the people that should be there, they all don't have birth certificates, let alone passport. When are we going to do birth certificates for them? When are they going to have passport? When are they going to get visa and then travel? And when they travel, I mean, the air tickets, their accommodation is also going to, increase, feed and a whole lot of things. That was something we're not ready to, bear.
So, anybody who finds him or herself in this condition need to bear in mind that they need to go with
at least you should be 3
people.
Yes,
family
and all
related.
Those 3 should be family.
Okay.
At least. Now, in my case, my fiance is not family.
Yeah.
Right. So it was just me and the donor.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
So either the donor's mother, yes, especially the donor's either mother or wife or husband or father should be there, or sister or brother, yes, should be there, because the concentration is on the donor. So, and we didn't have it that way. Yes, because for the other lady I was talking about, the immigration lady, I think her daughter donated. So she was the recipient and also the mother. So in this case, there was nothing like the daughter should bring a different, person. But even with that, her sister was also there, because you need a caretaker.
Yeah.
So they were 3, all family. So the least number should be 3, and all of you should be family. If you are not, and the donor gives the consent, then it means that the donor should come with her family. You also come with the family, and there may be a caretaker, or the family would one of the family members would take care of all of you. So in that case, 4 should be there.
Yes. Wow. Guys, I'm sure you are taking notice of some of these things, because yes, if you happen to go there for any later treatment, these are some of the things that you need to bear in mind. Have I'm sure more funds, because you might not know what would happen.
Yes.
And also go in with family members, because it is also a requirement and a need for you to to also go with. So fast forward, you are now in India, and you had also got the experience in Ghana with the health personnel here, the doctors and everything. Tell us about India, your 3 or more months that you were there in preparation towards the actual surgery. I asked a question earlier, and you said by then you were in Ghana, so you wouldn't know. So now that you are in India, let's understand, how was it like? Is there any difference? Is there any similarities between like their health care and Ghana?
Yes, the first shock of my life, or as a patient in India, was when I was offered food during my dialysis session.
Project a bit, yeah. Your first shock was when you were offered food.
Yes, I mean solid food. I was given rice with chicken, with I think an apple, and then some sweets while I was having my dialysis. And this is like a taboo in Ghana. Yes, you can't be having your dialysis and be eating. It's all the centers that I've been. Kolebu will not accept it. Providence will not accept it. Midway will not accept it. Sage will not accept it. These are the 4 centers that I happened to have a dialysis done whilst in Ghana. So it was a no-go area. The best they can do for you is either porridge or just tea. That's what they can offer you in Ghana. The reason at the time is that if something should happen to you while on the machine, they want to be sure that it is not as a result of the food that you are eating. That was the reason. But in India, in fact, the food is also part of the bill.
Okay.
Yes, so you decide whether you take it or not. But it will definitely come. They have a menu, they come to you, you tell them what you want, and then they get it for you. So usually it comes with after the second hour. We do the dialysis for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So by the second hour, your food should come. Yes. So that was the first shocker, because in Ghana, the chair say if the nurse should catch you, the way they will even talk to you, like you feel bad, you feel like they talk to you like you are a child, But over there, no. So that was the first shock that I had, the dialysis. Secondly, the same dialysis. In Ghana, there was this softball that you have to keep pressing because I have the fistula here.
Right. Yeah.
So they put the 2 needles here for the dialysis. So you often have to press the ball to keep the fistula active. Active means for it to keep on vibrating. So if you take your ears closer to my hand where the fistula is, you hear this sound like vroom, 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 kind of like current running. But over there, I think I forgot my softball in Ghana. So when I went there, I requested for one. They said there's no need for it and that the fistula is good. So since then till now, I haven't used any softball to, exercise or to keep it active. It is still active as of now. As for the structure, I mean, there's nothing like a small hospital in India. Also, well, we can say that their population wouldn't allow them to put up 100 bed, like recently I heard.
Yeah.
So, was it 60 or 160 bed regional hospital? I was like, oof, you'll never hear about this in India. I mean, in Ghana,
okay.
160 bed regional, like, in India, not even a village hospital will have 160 because look at the population. So, yes, we will consider the population, but that also means that there wasn't anything like a small hospital. Most of the hospitals, you can get 500 and above beds.
So there in India, you were in their capital, right?
Yes, I was in Delhi.
So when you do the comparison between Ghana and India in terms of the quality of medical care,
Oh, they are far ahead of us.
in terms of, is it about the infrastructure bit or
Not just the infrastructure. One, the infrastructure is, health and environment is key.
yeah,
Okay, when I'm sick, where you are going to place me also helps me to heal.
yeah,
Because I need peace of mind, okay, to heal.
yeah,
So you can't rule out the aesthetics of the environment that you're going to be in. The comfort of the environment can't be ruled out. Secondly, the professionalism is different. In India, they value lives. Let me put it that way. They value lives in the sense that if by mistake or anything a patient dies in your hands,
yeah,
you are in big trouble. It's not like Ghana that the family have to fight and take it to court and no. Over there, the rule is there already. The family doesn't have to act. If once it is seen as an issue of negligence, the state steps in right away.
oh,
So the nurses are when there's something you don't have to do, they tell you not to do. Even taking a picture with you is an issue they wouldn't, tolerate. Just a picture.
yeah,
Yes. So if it happens by chance that you give them your phone and they take a picture of you, they tell you, please don't show it to anyone. Don't show it to anyone. They always make sure, yes, because they are working with the
Yeah.
ethics.
yeah,
So they don't joke with those things. And the doctors, let's say their experience is also higher than
that of
Yes.
Ghana, what you experienced while in Ghana.
Yes. Simply because they have more cases. They handle a lot of cases than our Ghanaian doctors. So, for example, the surgeon that did my surgery
Yeah,
has done over 20,000 surgeries. I don't know if we have any of such in Ghana. And this person we are talking about is less than 50 years.
oh,
Yes. The head of the nephrology has done close to 100,000. He should be, I think he's 60 something. So you see the experience. It means that he's seen a lot of these things. So they know what to do in terms of emergency or anything during the surgery. They know. But Ghana, we started the kidney transplants just recently. I
Yeah.
don't think we have a Ghanaian hospital with
Yeah.
more than 20 surgeries.
yeah,
We don't have it.
yeah,
So you can't compare somebody who has done thousands of what you are going to do to somebody who has not even done tens. So their experience level is way beyond that of Ghanaians. I don't want to use expertise
okay,
because maybe the Ghanaian doctors, we may have some of them who are very good, they are experts, but in terms of the challenge, in terms of the experience, they haven't faced it as the Indian doctors have it.
so whilst there or with you having that experience, were there any significant differences, right, in the pre or post operative care that surprised you in India?
The issue is that, once again, I haven't had a surgery in Ghana before, but from what I've heard, this is not personal, but from what I've heard, the Kolebu Hospital should be the worst place to have a surgery done. And this is from the horse's own mouth. The doctor that came to work on the 3 surgeries in July for Kolebu, I happened to meet him in India, and he told me this. So first of all, the preparation is poor, and then where they are going to keep the patient after the surgery was also poor. So the one of the, how do you call it, patients had
Yeah.
an infection.
Okay.
Yeah, after the surgery, and having an infection after surgery is, let me say, it's as good as not to having the surgery in the first place, because either you are going to lose your life or you are going to lose the kidney. It's two things. So if you are losing the kidney, why did you have it in the first place? Once you lose the kidney, the one who gave it to you is more or less have wasted their organ, and you too, you haven't had the healing that you're supposed to have, or the assistance you're supposed to have. So it's a bad situation to have a transplant done, and as a result of bacteria or infection, it has to be removed again.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can't retransplant the same organ twice. Once the organ is removed and it's transplanted once, that's it. You take it back off again and it's waste.
It's a sad one. Like narrating all that you said, like it's a sad one because, like you said, if somebody agrees to donate
Yes.
his or her organ, and for all of the process and the whole thing to be wasted, like in that regard, then it's sad. But then what's the Indians are not English. They speak different language. So like I want to understand. Do you encounter any language barrier? Because Ghana, we speak English. Indians have got their own language they speak. So how did you navigate your?
I had language barrier challenge, especially with the hotel staff, especially with the cleaners and then other staff. And then when you go to the market,
Okay.
and then some of the nurses also don't understand English. But the doctors, they all spoke English. Yes. But the challenge is with the people themselves in the community, in the shopping centers, in the marketplaces, in the cabs that you take. Those are the challenges that we face. Well, they speak more of the Hindu than the English. And there are a lot of the government schools teach the Hindu. It's just the international schools that teach English.
Okay.
So you have more people graduating from the government schools than from the international schools, because what we call a private school, they call it the international schools.
Oh, okay.
Because over there you get to learn English.
Oh, all right.
But the government school, that's the Hindu. And they also run the shift system. I don't know how in Ghana we call it, what, double track.
Double track.
Yes.
A similar thing.
Yes, for the primary to junior high thing. Yes. So they have morning session, which ends by 12:30, and then the evening session ends about 5:50. Yes, and day school Monday to Saturday as well.
Okay. When you go back and I visited you, when we had discussions, you mentioned you were putting up a book. You're putting together a book.
Yes.
And from our conversations, like I got to realize, or like I realized that you had some cultural shocks. And I think we've even mentioned one that's with the health sector. So I want us to look at other things, something like because you already mentioned that at the point you visited their market. So let's look at their food, like their cuisine. What kind of cultural shock did you have when it came to their food, and how did you overcome it? Because yes, you are not in Ghana, so you're not expected to have everything like. So how did you overcome it?
Well, first of all, they do street food a lot.
Okay.
They love street food, and then also they eat in bits. Not like us. In Ghana, when you say you are eating lunch, it is lunch.
Yeah.
Nothing comes in between until supper.
Yeah.
And if you are taking breakfast, it's a breakfast that should sustain you to lunch. But no, they will eat in peace, small cups for the tea, small piece of chapati, like bread.
Oh. Wow.
Yes, so just something small, but frequent. It's like every hour they
There should
have
be
to
something
eat something. So that's it. For us, we know 3 square meal, morning, afternoon, evening.
Yeah.
But for them, they can eat between 5 to 7 times in a day, but not in the larger quantities that we have it at a go. But they do it in beds. So in terms of the eating culture, this is one of the differences.
Right.
And then they do eat rice a lot. They do eat rice a lot, and also that's because they farm rice.
Right.
Yes, and rice is really cheap. When I came to Ghana, I realized 5 kg bag of basmati is about 200 plus cedis. I was like, no. In India, I was buying 5 kg for less than 40 cedis. The whole bag. So you just see that what we think is like, how do we call it? Like for the rich, Indian basmati is a common rice over there.
Okay.
But Ghana here, quite a big deal. So we just put the name on it and then we make it big, sell it at a higher price. But that's it. But let's talk about the shocks.
Yeah.
One is that they are dirty.
Okay.
Yes, as for that, how no?
Even in their capital.
Yes. Even in their courts, they are dirty. You see, it is common to see cigarette sticks.
Okay.
Leftover cigarette sticks. It's common to see their walls stained with spit.
Okay.
There's this thing that they chew. I've forgotten the name, but it's more or less like how do you call this? Cola.
Okay.
Yes. So, but they have it in sachet, and almost everybody does it. And it is reddish in color, and they don't swallow.
Like what we call basin here.
Yes. They don't swallow, so they have to always spit it out. So, and they spit it indiscriminately.
Yeah.
Whether they're in their car, they just roll the window and then spit. So you see the doors stained with that thing. You see it like this corner like this. By now, the whole place is reddish. No. They are dirty.
Okay.
Yes, they are dirty. That's one thing. Yes, Ghana is dirty, but
Not as not as compared to that one.
Yes, not as compared to Indians. And HR is an issue. I don't know whether your channel accepts tree.
I
just want to say HR because I don't want them to feel bad.
But why do you think it's an issue? Or
I don't know. Just a few people take personal hygiene seriously. Yes, above my agents and then some few other people that I met. Yeah, but the majority, no. You can't stand. Wow. Yes, that's another shock that I had. Then of course the stray dogs,
right,
all over the place. There were a lot of stray dogs. Yeah, and also because they worship some of these things. So stray animals in general.
Okay.
Monkeys, dogs, cattle, especially every corner.
Yeah.
And they would skid off the road than to hit a cow.
Oh.
Yes. So they revere it a lot. So
in Ghana, we have them at we enjoy this.
Yes.
So
it's like a taboo for you to say that you eat, beef in India. Yes, if you are not careful, they may even arrest you. Yes, it's a taboo to say that.
Just before you go on to the next one, was there any Have you developed any favorite meal, like any local,
India?
Indian meal that?
Honestly, it was difficult. The first 3 days, we more or less fasted because our food got stuck at the airport. It got missing. Let me put it that way. So they were looking for it. I'm sure it mixed up with other luggage from a different plane or something. So we needed to buy from them, and we didn't know where to go. So we were doing a lot of tea and biscuits. But then I think 3 days later, we asked the driver to take us to a restaurant, a place where we can eat, while we're waiting for the food from Ghana to come from the airport. So when we told them, for me, I like pepper, so give me something chili, since I'm from West Africa. So, but what they brought, the same rice with what I've forgotten the name of the sauce, with some,
What cheese?
cheese. Yeah. I mean, they cut the cheese more or less like roasted cheese with some. So I tried, but it wasn't
Easy
good.
food, yeah.
They are a spicy nation, so a lot of spices here and there. I couldn't, my taste buds couldn't take it.
Yeah.
So when our food came from the airport, we were happy. We just went to town and bought cooking utensils, and then we started, preparing our own meals. But of course, we couldn't prepare meals every day.
Yeah.
And then also, the food wasn't enough for the period.
Yeah.
So I was taking, I think what I developed taste for later on was something naan. I've forgotten the cheese naan.
Okay.
Yes. So cheese naan, and then again I've forgotten the name of the sauce. So that was what I developed taste, for. Yes. There was KFC, McDonald's, and the other, but of course, their KFC is different from our KFC.
Okay.
So the taste is still different because of the spices. They need to prepare the KFC to meet their taste.
Yeah.
Same with the McDonald's.
Yeah.
Same with the Domino's.
All right.
Same with all other, Western, food center.
Once you've mentioned these McDonald's and this foreign,
Yes.
let's say, I want to understand how do you see their business environment? Because Indians with their population and everything, one would think they actually patronize do this domestication thing where they eat what they grow and all of that. But how do you look at? Are there more foreigners like owning businesses there when it comes to like the food aspect and even in general? How do you see their business sector like with the short stay?
They are more indigenous than
Okay.
Western.
All right.
Yes, unlike the other way around, Ghana, once you go to shopping centers, we are more Western than indigenous. For example, you go to West Hills Mall.
Yeah.
Here, the only place that serves Ghanaian dishes is the Ados. I mean, where you can get fufu, kokonte, banko at the mall is only in the Ados.
Okay.
You won't get it anywhere else.
Yeah.
All the others are serving something like rice, pizza, this, that. All of these things are foreign. In India, they have more of their local foods than the Western foods.
Because which eventually help the economy
Yes.
to like boost and as in grow.
Yes. And most of the Western, food centers are franchises. So they are actually running it. But it's more or less like, the franchise is like, I've started KFC and I'm giving you permission to also open another branch at your end. but you are using your resources and everything. Just that I have to do the oversight monitoring to ensure that you don't bring my brand's name into disrepute. But at the end of the day, however, maybe I'm selling the franchise to you for, say, 50,000 Ghana cedis. That's what you'll be paying me at the end of the year. And then you use my name to prepare your food and sell. So that's how it's done over there.
I want to look at least you went out to buy a few things, went to some of the shops to purchase a few products. Were there anything different that you saw in terms of customer service and how things were done, like as compared to Ghana?
Oh yes. If you are not careful and you enter an Indian shop, you walk back home. Yes, when I say you walk back home, I mean you may end up spending everything over there because there are people that know how to take money. Yes, they know how to take money. That's because their customer service is top notch. Also, maybe because part of their culture, because any shop that you go, tea or water is constant.
They welcome you with that.
Yes. Either you want to take tea with chops or you want water, they'll serve you. That's the first thing. Before you even ask of how much is this, how much is that. And the bosses often will come to you as the foreigner. They will take you through.
The bosses themselves.
Yes. Explain everything to you. They usually don't allow their boys or salespeople to attend to you.
But not to cut you, are these, or did you experience these things in the bigger outlets like the malls or the big supermarkets or even in their local,
even in the local shops,
like what we call the stores here?
Yes. Or let's say the markets like Agbobloshi.
Yes.
Even in a place like Agbobloshi,
they prioritize customer service like this.
Yes. We were buying fish, we were buying chicken,
we
were buying, the foodstuff, bread, and those, petty things. Yes, and they were attending to us. The thing is that food is cheap.
Okay.
Over there. Yes. The kind of foods, for example, I don't even know which restaurant I can compare with. Let's say in Somunam.
Yeah.
I haven't been there before, but I know maybe a plate of food should be about 600 or maybe even 1,000 or if not more. A place like in Somunam, the service you will get at a place like in Somunam, the same service in India or in an Indian restaurant, you end up not even paying 100 cedis for the food.
Oh.
Yes. Food is cheap over there.
And
so at times, the three of us, myself, caretaker, donor, we don't spend more than 150 cedis in a restaurant. Yes. And
I'm sure you could, it would be as a result of they patronizing what they grow.
Yes. Most of the items are in-sourced and they have farms. When I talk about farms, it's not the 2x4.
Once we do in Ghana here.
There was once I was traveling from how do you call it? Forgotten the name of the place. But I was moving from one point to the other. And for close to 2 hours, I was moving between farms.
Oh.
And their roads are good. Most of the time, the vehicle is not moving less than 100 kilometers per hour. So at this top speed, and for more than 2 hours, you were in a farm. Should tell you what farming means to them. Yes. So they produce a lot, especially rice. They produce it a lot. All the grains, lentils, wheat, all those things, they produce them. And it's very cheap. Fish too, same. And one thing I also realize is that they don't want frozen stuff. So you won't get frozen chicken in India. You won't get frozen fish. I mean, based on where I went, we often go to the African market, and everything is fresh. So if I want fish, I point, give me this, give me that, and they are in the water, alive. Then they bring what you want. It's like Ghana, I always say point and kill.
Point and kill.
Over there, it is not a flex. That is how it is. So everything is fresh. And they hardly put stuff in fridge. They hardly put stuff in fridge because every day the food is available and it is cheap to buy and prepare. So it's not like Ghana that say, oh, Charlie, tomatoes prices are going high. Let me buy more and then blend and keep it in the fridge. Let me buy this more. No.
For before we wrap up, right? One of the things, or listening to you, some of the things that I've noted now is like when it has to do with their health sector, you spoke about the prioritizing, their patients, where they kind of, there's a whole professionalism thing too when they are taking care of patients. They don't treat them anyhow in quotes, like, because there is a whole law, something regarding it, that if they don't give their patient the needed treatment and something happens, they are going to face the law. So they prioritize that. And also the conditions there, when you mentioned they even gave you food, it's something that you barely see in Ghana. In even our top-notch hospitals like Kolebu. When it comes to the food, to you spoke about they believing in this domestication thing where they patronize what they grow. Then it's eventually boosts the economy, because if they are patronizing or if they're buying what they produce, then it's going to boost the economy and they're going to grow. And then again, you talk about the business aspect where clients or owners of even the small enterprises prioritize customer care. They would attend to you not because they have sales boys and girls. They will sit and aloof and relax, but they would come talk to you, and how they will even meet you with the tea and stuff. These are all things that you don't see ordinarily in Ghana here. You go to a shop, and there's one thing that you mentioned when I visited. You mentioned about the fact that they tend to know about the current trends where somebody will even give you a phone to comment or rate them or give them a review on their business. These are some of the things that you don't even see in Ghana here.
Every place that we went, especially accommodation, anytime we tell them we are leaving, they make sure we rate them. If you go to a shop, they ask you to follow them. I think most of them are Instagram and Facebook. They do a lot of Instagram and Facebook. So, follow my page, like my page, do this, do that. So that's what they do.
With all of this experience that you've had, or you had, as a result of you going to have the surgery done, coming back home to Ghana, you've been around for about more than 3-4 months. Or even more.
I'm getting to 7 months.
7 months. Tell us, what do you think needs to be done in terms? This podcast seeks to help us have this mindset shift. So all the positives that you found there, perhaps there could be a good reason for you going there. What do you think I need to do in all of this, especially within these areas that you mentioned, with our agri sector, the health sector, and also the business sector, like your experience? What do you think needs to be done?
Okay. First of all, I think we need to be honest. I realize a lot of honesty in what they do.
Very honest.
Yes. If the thing is A, they won't tell it is B just to make you buy. Yes. Because their belief is that when you go and it is not what they told you, you bring it. And it also gives them bad rating. So they are honest with the responses they give to your questions. They won't lie to you that, that's the best, meanwhile it is not. So we need to operate our businesses with honesty. Secondly, you don't have to judge a customer based on appearance. Yes, every customer is the same, is equal, should be treated the same, with the same dignity, with the same respect, with the same, smile. But in Ghana, you often see some discrimination.
Yeah.
If the customer parks a car and they see then, let me attend. The madam say, let me attend to this person myself. No, India, they don't care what you came in with. All they want to do is to make sure that they sell to you. Whatever it takes for them to sell to you, they will do it. That is them. Even if you don't have money to pay, they can give you the item and tell you to pay later. Yes. There was an instance that I think I needed a suit to give to one of my fathers here.
Yeah.
So when I went there, told them, I don't have money. He says, don't worry, you take later. My boy will come for it, and they only requested for the address. That's all, and later they came for it.
It's not surprising, not to catch you on that one. It's not surprising. All of these things you're mentioning, I'm sure that is the reason why we see I think it's the Lebanese and Indian business in Ghana thriving.
Yes.
You see, even sometimes our Ghanaian-owned businesses would hire an Indian to manage their business.
Yes.
So you talk about honesty in there.
Yes.
And the others.
Because the honesty is all across. Even with the cleaners. When it's time for clean, you don't have to call them. They are there.
They are not their job description.
Yes. And if they are not doing it the way you like it, all it takes is for you to tell them, this is how I like it. And they won't complain. They won't say, Papa hard drink and I'm hard drink. They're always free, smiling, and they do their work. In Ghana here, hardly would you see people doing their work without supervision. So when you're in common, or if you are not strict with supervision, your employees will misbehave. But over there, no, whether there's a supervisor or not, they still do what they are supposed to do.
Wow.
So I think there's something that the employees of businesses should look at, because at the end of the day, if the business is doing well, it's doing well for both the employer and the employee. So if you don't do it well, at the end of the day, both of you also lose.
Wow. Mr. Atawura, thank you very much for passing through. It's been a wonderful conversation that we've had here, and I'm sure my viewers and I would, in fact, we are so much grateful for sharing your experience with us.
You're welcome.
And I'm sure we are going to do this some other time.
Yes. There are a lot that we didn't talk about.
And it's about the book. I'm sure when it's finally launched, we would come back to have...
I don't know whether I'm going to launch it, because the book is more... it's deeper. It brings other stuff into the picture where people may not want to, see.
Yeah.
But it's a candid experience. Some people may feel, this is too much, or that is that. So we are now weighing the, pros and cons of it. But it's gives specific examples of the failure of the system, and I didn't hide the identities of those who failed. So the debate now is, should we take out those identities or not? But if you do so too, will the picture be clear enough? Because obviously we need to sit up as a nation. The way you treat our patients is very bad. I had some bad experiences while in Ghana, and nurses will talk to you anyhow. Doctors, most of the time that I had emergency in Ghana, there was no doctor available. The nurses will have to manage you until the next day a doctor comes. But over there, the emergency doctors are always there.
Wow.
Yes. This emergency that I had about 6 doctors at a time, the same time attending to me. In Ghana, you won't get this. You won't get this. At odd hours, you won't. That's why I said they value lives. Because what happened to me the second time, it were to be in Ghana, I would have died.
Well, thank you once again, sir.
You're
And I'm sure you are, with your YouTube channel that you started, telling us about the experience and all of that. If there's anybody who wants to reach out to you to help them with their case, I'm sure you're those
to
are open.
facilitate. Yes, anybody who wishes to, go outside, especially India, to have a medical, treatment can contact me, because I've been there for 8 months. I'm one of the people who have been there for longer period, and because of my investigative journalism background, I also did a lot of questions and personal investigations here and there. Trust me, there are a lot of people who are ready to snatch onto you because they just want their money.
Yeah.
But it is an evil, let me say it's an evil industry.
Oh.
Yes. Most of the agents, you can't trust them.
Wow.
99% of them, you can't trust them. So if you want credible information, and I've done that for at least 4 to 5 people since, through the same videos, they reached out to me and helped them, yes. And of course, it's at no cost, because we all know how difficult times are. So for free service, so far as I have the time, I'll give the advice.
Right. So you can contact him on the Atawura on YouTube, where that's his channel, where he shares, or he's still sharing the experience that he had both here and also in India, and also on Instagram as well, Mr. Philip Atawura on Instagram. Or yes, or and even
then, on TikTok too, Mr. Atawura
on TikTok
PhD.
Sure. All right, and if for nothing at all, you can also hit me up on my Instagram at Bob Shandy, Facebook to Bob Shandy, and yes, I'm going to link you up with him, and you have your assistance. If you followed us for almost an hour or so, thank you very much. We don't take for granted your time, and I'm sure you've been empowered with all the lessons, the experience in here. This is what we've got for you on this channel. We bring to you, like I said earlier, experiences that would help shape our mind and also help us as a whole to have that kind of mindset shift and also that self-development that we need as a people. This is the EYV podcast with me, Bob Shandy. We will see some other time. Bye-bye.